Good afternoon, everyone, and you're all welcome to Bincom Angular Meetup. Um, so we'll begin right away. So in the meantime, please kindly send in your name, what your expectation for this program is, and a link to your social media handle so we can connect with you. Please, you can do that in the chat. And this event is proudly hosted by Bincom Dev Center. So I'll just be telling you a bit about Bincom Dev Center. Then I will call on the hosts of the event to proceed with the agenda for this event. So right away, you're all welcome once again to Bincom Dev Center, and we are a multi-location technology, talent development, and solutions platform. Our aim is building tech talent, enhancing tech talent, and also building startups. The different services we offer for all of this is, as you can see my screen, building tech talent. We have services like Bincom Academy, Bincom Tech Internship, Bincom Tech Apprenticeship, Bincom Global Tech Program. To enhance tech talents, we have Bincom Tech Network, we have Lightspace, we have Emigrate Tech Visa, we have Bincom Mentoring Platform, and Bincom Tech Career Coaching. And then for building startups, we have our labs by Bincom. And our locations are virtually near you. You can find us in Yaba, Lagos State, Oyo State, Kano State, Kaduna State, Ogun State, Delta State, and United Kingdom. We also have plans to extend to as many locations as possible. So more highlights on these services. For Bincom Academy, we utilize the Montessori approach in training participants in basic skills that is needed for the modern technology ecosystem. We have Bincom Tech Internship, which is designed to enable people at intermediate skill levels gain mastery and expertise over a period of time. And then we have our apprenticeship, tech apprenticeship, which is an industrial attachment at various skill levels to gain experience and on the job training. You can we also have a Bincom Tech network, including community events and projects, which is geared at giving back to the community and building the tech ecosystem. We focus on informing and exposing the youth to the current technology trends and how you can prepare for the future in technology. We have Lightspace that provides helpful workspace intended to encourage collaboration, drive innovation in the startup ecosystem, and we have spaces that is also created and designed for various events like seminars, conferences, and get together. Our Global Tech Program is your solution to launch your tech career globally, and it is 1 to 2 years program focused on three key pillars, which is learning a skill, gaining experience, gaining exposure. This also meets up to our main aim of enhancing talent, building tech talent, and also building startups. Our tech visa, Emigrate Tech Visa, helps you become globally attractive, helps you build a good tech profile, and also helps you with a tech-enabled business. And it is also your tech-enabled pathway to relocation and settlements in countries like UK, USA, Canada, France, and many more. Our mentoring platform is structured is a men is a structured solution to help you add values. Mentors add values to mentees for the purpose of building attractive techies. And then we have our Labs by Bincom, which is a 3 to 6 month pre-incubator program that brings together participants to build a digital technology product which will be used by real life users. Our tech career coaching helps individuals to land their next role faster by offering them a combination of a coaching, relevance of the job experience, career referencing, introduction to tech recruiters, hands holding through application and interview process, and many more. So if you're interested in any of these services or you like to get more information about these services, you can reach out to me or you can check the chat in this particular call. I'll be sharing relevant links that would be very useful to you. So please, if you know you're interested, kindly watch out for the links in the chat. All right, so at this point, at this point, I'll call on your host for this event. His name is Owoniyi to carry on with this event. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm your host for today. My name is Ogunbade Josoladegmi, and this community event was put together by the mobile app developers of this organization. The theme for the day is Angular Apex. We'll be talking about how to scale the summit of web development. We hope that before the end of this program, we would have conveyed the idea of how to reach the pinnacle of web development excellence using Angular, and also how to overcome challenges, push boundaries, and ultimately achieve success in building remarkable web applications. We will also explore different strategies that can be used to scale Angular projects, conquer complex front-end tasks, and leverage Angular's full potential to create exceptional user experiences. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce our first speaker for today. He's a software engineer with a passion for crafting solutions to real-world problems. His sharp analytical and critical thinking skills have allowed him to develop effective softwares. He is a full-stack developer with experience in a variety of technologies, which include Angular, React, Java, Spring Boot, and database management. He has tackled challenges in the financial sector, edutech, oil and gas, and data management. Beyond tech skills, he is a team player with strong communication abilities and a constant drive to learn. Our speaker is Mr. Darlington Ole.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Okay, so Shola already said it all. But then for us to move forward, I would like us to unmute and just introduce ourselves, the stack we use, and just a little bit of ourselves. Starting from Emmanuel. Good afternoon. Sorry, can Emmanuel hear me? Okay, if not, I'm just going to move down to Ibrahim. Ibrahim, good afternoon. Can you just unmute? Would love to know about you, the stack you use, and so on.
Hello? 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 Mr. Anthony?
Is it my network? Sorry, can anyone hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so sorry. We would just love to meet you, your name, the stack you use, and the rest. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
They're just talking for the sake of them. We're just managing for the month.
Yes, sir. So, okay, let me start with Shay. So at least we have a template of how we should be. Shay, good afternoon. Sorry, can we know you?
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Oluwaseyi. I'm front-end mobile app team at Bincom Dev Center.
Okay, you're welcome, Oluwaseyi. I think we have new people that are just joining us for the first time. I mean, external invitees. So can we just unmute and just introduce ourselves so others can actually welcome us?
Yes, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
Yes, my name is Yusuf Ibrahim. I'm a biomedical engineer at BPC. I was introduced to the group by Shay. I'm new here, so I'm
Wow,
open to learning anything.
you are highly welcome, sir. You're highly welcome, sir. Thanks so much for accepting our invitation and gracing our events. We appreciate you,
Okay.
sir. Thank you
All
very
right,
much,
thank
sir.
you. All right, thank you.
Yeah, Unamdi, good afternoon. Sorry, can you just introduce yourself, please?
Okay, I'm so sorry about that.
Okay, indeed.
Yeah, I can hear you, Patrick. Good afternoon.
Can you hear me? Good afternoon. My name is Nnamdi Anufaroli.
All right.
I can hear you, Namdi.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Nnamdi Anufaroli. I'm new here and I was invited by you, obviously, Mr. Olariwaju.
Okay, you're welcome. You're welcome. Thanks for accepting our invitation. Thanks so much. Ayobami Olakunle Olukunle, good afternoon. Patrick, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
My name is Arhel and I'm new here. I was invited by Shola.
Oh, good afternoon. You're welcome, sir. Thanks for accepting our invitation. We appreciate you, sir. Um, Dasola Ogunbadejo. Good afternoon, man. Sorry, can you hear me? Dasola Ogunbadejo.
Good
Okay.
afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. I can hear you.
Yeah, so I am Dasola Badejo. I am currently a graphic designer and UI UX designer currently attached to the Bincom Dev Center. So I'm joining this event just to broaden my horizons and see things from the perspective of the developers who end up developing the designs I create. So I hope to learn as much as possible here. Thank you.
Thanks so much, sir. You're highly welcome. We appreciate you, sir. Thanks for accepting our invitation. Christiana Adelusi, good afternoon. Sorry, may we know you?
Good afternoon. My name is Christiana. I am part of the mobile app team. We we are the hosts of this event, so we hope everybody can
Okay.
learn perfectly and gain something. And also, I hope you can have a glimpse into the software development world if you are not part of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Christiana. Dede Omat Sheye, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good
Good
afternoon,
afternoon,
sir.
everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Teddy Omashe. All right, I'm new here. I was just part of the May mobile dev cohort. All right, so I use main stack, but I'm slowly transitioning into Mean. So I want to learn more about Angular. That's why I'm here. And I was invited by Mr. Samuel.
Oh, Didi, thanks so much for accepting the invitation. Thanks so much. I really appreciate. Thanks so
Thank you.
much. Okay, so can Joy Idekwe, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Joy.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Joy.
Can
So
you
can you just introduce yourself, please?
Okay. My name is Ujeko Joy. I'm part of the mobile app team at Bincom Destiny.
Uh, you are welcome. You are welcome. You are welcome. Okay, so just like Shola said the the other time, we are trying to. Okay, so we are trying to get to reach out to our speaker. Just a few minutes, please.
Um, Good afternoon once again. So I'm going to reintroduce our speaker for today. He's a software engineer with a passion for crafting solutions to real-world problems. His sharp analytical and critical thinking skills have allowed him to develop effective softwares. He is a full-stack developer with experience in a variety of technologies, which includes Angular, React, Java, Spring Boot, and database management. He has tackled challenges in the financial sector, edutech, oil and gas, and data management. Beyond tech skills, he is a team player with strong communication abilities and a constant drive to learn. Our speaker's name is Mr. Darlington Olalewe. Sorry, sir, please can you unmute and talk? Mr. Darlington. Mr. Darlington, sorry, please, can you unmute? If you're talking, we can't hear you. Mr. Darlington.
Hello, good afternoon, sir. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, I can. You're muted.
Okay, do I have the floor? Okay, do I have the floor?
Oh, yes, you do. You can go on.
All right. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Please do let me know when you can hear me, or if you can hear me.
Okay, I can hear you and I can see you.
Okay, okay. So I would like to share my screen. Okay. Do I have permission to do that? Because I can't see.
All right, so let me share my screen.
Okay, all right, cool. I think that's all the information. The team will reach out to you.
So can you see my screen?
All right. Thank you. Okay.
Yes, I can. You can go on.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, you can. But
So
I'm not the one that will make the decision. I'm just
my name is
asking.
Darlington, and I'm actually honored to be in this summit. So I'm here to speak on Angular for the front end. Okay. So currently I'm a full stack developer. I work with InterSwitch. So before working with InterSwitch, I used to be an Angular developer at Union Bank. And before that, I used to be a full stack developer at Northwest Petroleum Oil Company. So over the years, I've been able to work on so many languages, so many frameworks, and one of the frameworks I like most for the front end is Angular. So I like Angular because of a lot of things it comes with. So let's talk about the cross-cutting concerns for your application. So typically when you are working on an application, let's say you have a Figma and you're like, okay, let me start with the landing page. When you are done with the landing page, one of the next things you are going to do is to work on the
That's the first.
login page, right? So when you do the login page, you now start to add other features. So before you know it, in a couple of weeks, your application is now huge, and then you now start having concerns in your application. So these are the top concerns you usually have. First of all, you have the styling concern. Second is scalability. Third is authentication and authorization. Fourth is login, error handling. Fifth is caching, data validation, configuration management, testing, and of course, full application upgrade. So far, so good. You cannot talk about Angular without talking about other frameworks out there. So if you're not using Angular today to build your application, you might likely be using Vue or React. So I like to use React because that is also very, very popular. So if you're not using Angular, you're most likely going to be using React or Vue, and they're actually different in their way of doing things. So for an example, if you want to do something on React, let's say you want to log in, you're going to start thinking about, okay, well, I have to install Axios, I have to install, and I have to use Fetch itself. So
Mr. Darlington, we can't see your screen on. We also can't hear you. Oh, can anyone hear Mr. Darlington? Mr. Darlington, we still can't hear you. I can see you, but you're muted. Mr. Darlington, you are muted. Okay.
all right. Okay, I think I'm having issues with my network. But did you hear me before now?
We're hearing you, I think, till about a minute ago, or 2 minutes, yeah.
Okay, okay. So I would like to share my screen again, and do let me know when you can see it. Please do let me know when you can see it. All right, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
All right.
Please, at any point you don't hear me, let me know, please. Okay, so I started with introducing myself. My name is Darlington Olelewe. I currently work with InterSwitch as a full stack developer. So I've worked in companies like Union Bank. I've also worked in the oil sector, not just petroleum, and I've used a lot of frameworks, be it front end and be it back end. And my choice of if I have the choice to choose a framework I will use for a particular project, I most likely is going to choose Angular. So I'll be choosing Angular because Angular is opinionated in doing things. Angular tells you that, oh, this is the best way I want you to do something. And most of the time, you might not like it, but with time you understand why. Angular is heavy on structure. When we are talking about structure of your code, Angular is very, very heavy on structure. Now, when you see a code base written in Angular and you see a code base written in any other framework, let's say React, you easily understand that your Angular project is very, very clean, right? Let's say, for an example, you are writing something in React, you'll be forced to write both your JavaScript, your template, everything in one file. And with time, this doesn't go well with you. You get you now start having to miss states and so many other things. But in Angular, Angular tells you that a component should have okay, you should have its TypeScript part, you should have its HTML, and you should also have it styling differently. So right out of the gate, Angular tells you, gives you an opinion on how to work. So, and again, with Angular, you also retain your knowledge of HTML because you're working directly on the HTML file itself. So, which means that your knowledge is something you can always pass across different frameworks. So, why would I choose Angular? Why you choose Angular is because Angular addresses so many concerns. Angular addresses a styling concern, a scalability concern, authentication and authorization, login concern, caching concern, data validation, configuration management, and testing. So can you all hear me? Can you still see my screen? Hello?
Yes, we can.
Yes, yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay, all right. So let's say you are starting up a new Angular project now. So when you start up the new Angular project, while setting it up, Angular asks you, okay, how do you want to style this application? Do you want to use your regular CSS? Do you want to use Angular Material? Do you want to use SAS? Do you want to use less? So Angular straight up asks you what you want to use. So should you choose anyone, it configures it for you. Unlike, let's say, you are working with Next.js or you are working with React, you have to start up the application and start configuring it yourself. So this configuration overhead, Angular does it for you. Of course, Angular comes with the CLI tool. So with the CLI tool, you tell you what you want to do and it does it. So Angular is heavy big on the CLI such that you don't really need to know how your modules connect with each other. With the CLI, you tell it, oh, I want to create an app module or I want to create a routing module. You just give it the command, it does it for you. So styling out of the gate, Angular comes with your CSS, your less,
He's gone off. Oh. Can't see him. I can't hear him.
We are so sorry, guys. I think Mr. Darlington is having issues with network. So just let's give him a few minutes for him to join back again. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Mr. Directing is off already. I don't know. Maybe he's trying to refresh his network or something. But then, for the meantime, before it comes back, for us that have tried using Angular, um, let me say someone like she. So you can just unmute and just tell us few challenges that you have gotten using Angular, and also how Angular is faring, and if you are enjoying it and how you think it's impacting you. Shay.
Yeah. What did you say?
Yeah, okay. So I want you to tell us how Angular is faring so far, how you are enjoying it, the challenges that you are facing, and also how you think it's going to impact you on your tech journey.
Yeah. Actually, also I'm also new to Angular also, but I've been working with Angular, and I would say it's pretty amazing because of the server side rendering, and it comes with TypeScript and easy to work with. So I think I've been enjoying it so far. I've been able to build a mini app, a mini project. I'll be able to build a portfolio app with it, and it's really going on well, and it's very easy to use. And it also have this CEO optimization, this that is really working well for Angular. And I think for now, I'm really loving it, and there's still a lot for me to learn. So I'm still exploring. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, so I'm just going to talk on few things, and that should be the coding standards for Angular. Mr. Darlington said some things about Angular and how he is going to choose Angular for his own favorite stack. Well, we all know that for us to start with any stack, at least we have to follow the standard. React has its own standard, Vue have its own standard, and also Angular have its own standard. So normally the purpose for Angular coding standard is to create a baseline for collaboration and also to help developers to follow the normal process in coding. So most times when you want to code, it's necessary that you follow the necessary procedures. So I'll just go over some do's and don'ts that you should follow when using Angular. As we all know that Angular is a complete package actually. Yeah, like it's very, very complete. Angular is a complete package. So um when talking about the default directory structure, I'm sorry, Shola, if Mr. Darlington is back, you can just inform me, please.
Okay, then no problem.
Okay, yeah. So it's helpful to know that you can restructure Angular's default directories. The default directories you are given will depend on the type of software you are writing. So normally, when you are trying to install your Angular project, it comes with its own default folder structure. So, but you as a developer, you can also restructure your folder directory to what, or let me say, to what you are comfortable with. Also, you should know that you should keep presentation logic out of controllers. In an MVC architecture, every module is separated into either the model, view, or controller. The view is where your presentation login is coded. The presentation is anything to do with the DOM. So if you need to change a value in any HTML element, you should only use the presentation layer to do this. And also, you should always make use of dependency injection. Using this, it's a way to decouple parts of your application from the main logic. And also, part of the do's when using Angular is that you should keep your controllers simple. You should use a condializer tool, and also you should make use of lazy loading. Also, usage of AOT, which is ahead of time compilation, is a great step towards performance gain at runtime. Using this, it will reduce your bundle by about, let me say, 30 kilobytes, which is a lot of improvement. And also, you should keep your component focused. Using usage of small functions, it helps to avoid hidden bugs that can come with large functions. And also file naming guidelines, you should follow the necessary file naming. And also your modular applications, modularity, you should make use of that also. So some don'ts that you should follow for your Angular coding standard. You should avoid naming collision. Don't import the full package, and also don't depend much on jQuery um plugin. So basically, all what I've just been saying since
Hello, Marcus.
all what I've just been saying since is that when using Angular, and to my latest knowledge, there are different types of Angular version. Um, the latest version now is very, 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 very different completely to um what we were using the other time. And I think the old versions have something we call app.module.ts, but right now you have to be passing your modules now inside the component instead of using the app.modules dot ts. So when you want to start with your Angular, you should make sure that you follow the necessary standard guidelines um and the rest. So um so a few minutes please.
Oh, wait, so
Hello, can you hear me?
yes, I can.
All right. Please, sorry about that. I don't know which part of the slide that where I stopped before the network dropped. So, okay. So I was speaking on reasons why you can use Angular for your applications. So do you get me when I talk about when I talked about authentication and authorization? Hello?
We can hear you, sir. We can hear you, sir.
All right. So I'm asking, did you hear me when I talked about authentication and authorization before the um
Not at all, sir. Not at all, sir.
okay. So if that's the case, let me just start from my second slide. All right. So we all understand styling, and we know that for every front end application, you are going to write a lot of CSS and a lot of media queries. So in Angular has what we call components. So components. So and when you are declaring a component, you are going to declare when you are declaring a component, you are going to declare the style sheets you intend to use. So you are going to declare the style you intend to use, right? And what this helps you to do is that now take for an example, you have a style called you have a class called input, right? So input is already is a class. You call it input, and then you declare that for every input you want to give it so so and so with color, and you want to style it in a certain way, right? But now when your application start getting bigger, you might make a mistake of creating another class and giving it a different property, but another class named input. So Angular um, carries each of your components and gives it a different isolation such that the styling doesn't overflow from one component to the other. Let me give an example. I should have a code here. So so what I'm trying to say right now is that in Angular treats each single component differently and ensures that the styling across your different applications doesn't overlap. So when you use a given style, it doesn't float into the next component as long as you declare it that way. So except it is a global style. That's one. Secondly, Angular supports styles like your regular CSS, your less and SAS. So it also comes out of the gate with Angular materials. So with this, you can now start properly. So Angular materials are like components, and these components they have different behavior. So for an example, in your application, you might typically use a notification, right? So there are times that when you use an application, you get a notification at the top right hand side to tell you that okay, your request was successful or to give you an alert. So Angular Materials has all these components and they are properly styled. So Angular comes out of the gate with styling and it enables you to do a lot of things. So that's about your style. Secondly is scalability. So one thing that you enjoy most in an application is how fast your response is. So for an example, when you use there are websites that you go to, let's say you go to Netflix, right? Netflix tries to ensure that your pages load fast. You get? So these are features that Angular comes out of the gate with. It is called feature modules. So every single part of your application is treated differently and they are not loaded up at the time of you going to the base URL. So let's say you go to most of or nearly all Google products are built with Angular, right? So for an example, you go to youtube.com, right? When you go to youtube.com, it doesn't load everything inside YouTube for you. It loads up what is in that particular page. So when you now check what your browser downloaded, what your browser downloaded might be 50 kilobytes. So which means that right out of the gate, you can start using the application without downloading much. And it also enables those who are on 3G or who are on 2G to still use the application. So Angular supports that by feature modules and by routing. So when we say feature modules, you can chunk your applications into modules, right? You are like, okay, when somebody goes to my about me page, just download what we have in my about me page. So you don't have to download what is in my project page or what is in my contact me page. Just download what is in my about me page, and which might be around that kind 4 kilobytes. So which means that those who are using applications are getting fast response before it loads up, right? Secondly, Angular handles authentication and authorization. So for an example, please, at any point if you have question, you can let me know so I can buttress my point. So Angular handles authentication and authorization. So there are times that you go to some applications and they tell you that 404, that this page is not found, or they might tell you that you should please log in, or they might tell you that this is an admin only page. You get? For an example now, when you go to jumia.com, if you go to jumia.com, you have access to view product, you have access to purchase a product, you have access to add to your cart, you have all those access. But then you don't have access to post a product. You don't have access to do so many other things. But then someone who is like a store owner on Jumia can do that. Why? Because those pages are restricted. And if you want to do something like that on your own, it's going to take a lot of time. It's going to take a lot of code to do. Well, out of the gate, Angular gives you components that wraps those things up. So it can tell you that, oh, if this person doesn't have so and so role, please direct them to the login page, or you direct them to page not found, right? So with that, Angular is kind of thinking about the developer experience as well as thinking about the user experience. Okay, so let's talk about login and error handling. So there are times that in your code or your users complain when you go to application review on Play Store. People start to make comments like, oh, I use this application and it crashed, or anytime I get to this part of the application, it crashes, right? So, and you as the developer, you might not know what is crashing because when you are testing it in your own environment, you are not seeing those things, right? But then there are other issues that there are other things that the user might have done in their laptop, or they have a different browser version different from what you are working on. So the application is crashing for them, but it's not crashing for you, right? So you can detect all these errors right there in your code. So you can even inject a service that anytime it crashes, please notify me. So that's how you get to have good applications. For an example, your applications like YouTube, when something crashes, they know. So it gives them the ability to repair it even before you complain about it. So Angular thinks of all those things out of the gate. You have classes like error handler, global error handler. So anytime there are errors in the application for any of your users, you can be notified that okay, oh, something has gone wrong. So you can fix it before it gets worse. So and me and you know how application is. When you use it the first day, it crashes. You use it the second day, it crashes. My dear, you're not going to use it the third time. Why? Because you might have gotten an alternative, or you might have gotten something that was better for you. So, but now for the developer, they are now losing customers without knowing why. You get? So, Angular helps you to handle those issues. Now, let's talk about caching. So, caching is something that you might not know the full usage or the full importance until when application is in the hands of hundreds of or thousands of people. So your application, most of the time, the application make reference to a backend service, right? So anytime you enter youtube.com, the videos you see there are they are called APIs. So the videos you see there, you have to make a fresh request for it. Yet when you make that fresh request, you now, if you keep loading the page, if you keep loading the page and YouTube did not do anything like caching out of the box, it will keep making calls to that backend. So, and it means that somebody who has access to your code base can perform what we call denial of service attack. Why? Because I know that this particular backend, people are using it and I keep making requests on it. So, but now right out of the gate, you can implement caching from the front end. Or if this person have this page already, or if this person have a list of videos already, please don't make a request again. Instead, give them what they already have, unless they have already viewed that. Yet, so out of the gate, caching can be handled. You don't have to do any extra magic, or you don't have to. There are so many ways people do caching, but then Angular handles it for you. Okay. Now, thirdly, immediately you start writing your Angular project or any of your front-end projects, the next thing you notice is form. How do you get something from your user? How can your user tell you their name? Let's say you want someone to sign up. Sign up requires first name, requires last name, requires email, right? So, and when they enter stuff like that, you want to verify whether or not their phone number is correct. You want to ensure that maybe their phone number starts with +234, or you want to ensure that their emails ends with at gmail.com, at yahoo.com, or at bincom.com, right? So all these things are what we call validation. So, and if you want to ensure those things, and you don't have you don't have, let's say you don't have a framework for that, you typically have to start writing code for it. Oh, the user have entered their names. Do their name contain so so and so? You get, or they have entered their email. Do the email match so so and so pattern? You understand? That is what we call validation. So out of the gates, Angular has what we call forms. So Angular has the reactive forms. Angular have the template driven forms. So each of these forms have the validation ability. So straight out of the box, you will just integrate the forms and then you have your validation. So you don't need to start moving what the user have entered to somewhere else to work on it to know whether or not it's correct. So while they are typing on the fly, you tell them that, okay, this is not valid yet. So out of the gate, Angular thinks about your form validation. So the next thing is your configuration management. So in your configuration, when you are writing your code, you have different environments. So your machine is called local machine, right? And the environmental variables you are using for local machine is going to be different from what you have on the production level. And most companies might even have 3 or 4 different levels. So they have the level for the developers, which is me and you, the devs. So when we are done writing, we push it to a different level called staging. So staging is where we are going to test it. So we also have QA. Some companies have QA. QA will also test the same stuff and ensure that it is okay. Then before you go to production. Now, how are you going to do this if you are not using a framework like Angular? You typically have to go to your different code base and start saying, okay, please use so and so URL for development, use so and so URL for staging, use so and so URL for let's say testing, right? But out of the gate, Angular has what we call environment files. Also environment.dev, you put your dev keys, you put your dev API keys and stuff there. If you are going on production, you you provide the different environmental files you get. So out of the gate, and it gives you files that you enter at different levels. You get. So these are the cross-cutting concerns I've noticed when developing front-end applications. And Angular has a way to mitigate every problem that you have. So the next thing is testing, right? So if you create a component ng out of the box, Angular is giving you a test kit. You get, so you don't have to. This is not your regular JavaScript. You already a test files. So if any of your tests fails, it tells you that, oh, these tests have failed. Okay. So and again, with time, that's what we call with time, things start getting out of date, or we have new features. For an example, we are in Angular 18 right now, but 6 months ago we were in Angular 17. 1 year ago we are in Angular 16, and each different version of all these Angular versions have different features. Because, for an example, we have changed the ng4 to what we have right now. We've added things like our deferred. So all these new features are stuff that comes every new at every new version, right? So if you want to update your Angular project, you don't have to start the project from scratch. You just have to use a CLI to upgrade it from, let's say, 16 to 15. Let's say your project is in Angular 14. You can upgrade it from 14 to 15, from 15 to 16, and then you now get to the version you want, right? So Angular thinks about all these things. Now, another question is, why do you, when you upgrade, will your old code break? So that's the difference between Angular and so many of all these frameworks. Let's say, for an example, React 16 and React 18 is not the same thing. So most of your components will not likely work. I'm talking about React 16. So even before React 14, we are using class-based components in React, right? And now we are using functional. So, but now Angular tries to be backward compatible, regardless of the version you are using. What you know before in Angular will also work. You get? So that's one of the benefits of using Angular. So when you are using Angular, you are not thinking of a lot of things, a lot of dependency that people download just to get their application up and running is enormous in other frameworks. But in Angular, you can go through your whole application without downloading external dependencies. If you want to make API calls, Angular has API calls for you. If you want to do debouncing, NGRX already have debouncing for you. If you want to just if you want to pipe, Angular comes with piping for you. Yet if you want to transform your data on the fly, Angular can transform your data on the fly without you writing a function that does it. So Angular is fully there for developers, and is also fully there for users. So I think it's something that when you try, you are going to enjoy, and always preach it. Like anytime we have a new project to start, be like, oh, the front end part, please, you are doing this with Angular. Why? Because the experience have always been the best for me. So if you have any question, you can ask, so I can make sure that everyone is following.
Sorry, sir. You can continue. Actually, there's a session for question and answer.
Okay, all right. So I'm actually done with my slides for the talk. Yeah, so another speaker can continue.
Okay, then thank you, Mr. Darlington. I think we'll just take the question and answer session now. Okay, someone asked if it's possible to get the slides. Mr. Darlington, will it be possible
Yes,
to
it's
get the slide?
possible. Yeah, it's possible.
Oh, okay, then no problem. I'll collect it from you. I'll get it from
Okay.
you then. And it has like questions. Can you you can unmute yourself and direct that to Mr. Darlington? Sorry, does anyone have questions?
Yes, I have questions.
Okay, then, thank you.
Mr. Darlington, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon, Christina.
Yes, I have a couple of questions. First of all, thank you for the presentation. It was very nice and it was very eye-opening. I am new to Angular. I started learning late last month. So the latest version is Angular 18. Then I went online to search. I didn't really get any tutorial on Angular 18. So here's my first question. From your presentation, Angular is very powerful. It's very, 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 very good compared to the other frameworks and libraries out there. How come people are not really using Angular? It's scarce for you before you can see an Angular developer. That was my first question.
All right. Thank you for that. Okay, want to continue?
Yes. Then number two, I think I have two questions. Number two, why should we pick from your presentation? There are a lot of things that you listed there, but now coming from a beginner like myself, I've worked with React and I really do enjoy React. There's a lot of um tutorials out there to, to help me. So why should I leave React and go to Angular? That's the second question. So please.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. Um, you made a mention of that so many people don't use Angular, and you are correct. So I will start with we have three popular frameworks. So we have Angular, we have React, we have Vue. So we have more React developers than we have Angular developers. And we have more Angular developers than we have Vue. Okay. So now my own knowledge or I've noticed that so many new developers tend to use React more than Angular. Okay. So I've also understood that the learning curve in React is not steep. The learning curve is something you can quickly start, you get in React as compared to Angular. So that is why so many people don't use it. But now when you come to big companies, so in Union Bank where I worked, so we have so many products. But when we are serious on a particular product, we are going with Angular. So I was hired there to be an Angular developer, myself and three other persons. Yet Stanbic, I have a lot of friends that are Angular developers in Stanbic. Union Bank, all their core applications are Angular. Yet. But now a lot of new persons they just want to write React, but then the core big applications that you know are built in Angular. Yet. Now let's say we have 20 new developers today. Most of them are going to serve it. Let's say 15 of them, or likely all of them themselves are going to serve with React. You understand? Because their friends are doing React. But now when they now get to a company that is mostly banks, they're like, do you know what, guy, you're writing this thing in Angular. Yeah, that has been my experience. I did not start with Angular, I started with React. Then going forward, I was into Angular. Now, now the next question you asked is you already know React, so why should you move from React to Angular? Okay, so unless you are doing a business, but for yourself, having more than one knowledge is actually important. So I used to pride myself to be a language agnostic. Okay, so let me use my experience for an example. I was interviewed for a role at InterSwitch, and that role is Java, right? So upon getting there, I started to write Python. Even my first task there was to convert Scala project from Scala to Python. Okay. Then after that, I started to write Python. before I even started the main thing I was employed to do. Okay. So what I'm trying to say this is having one knowledge is actually bad for anybody that wants growth. Okay. Having one knowledge is actually bad. Knowing more than one thing is the best bet. So if you're into front end, I will even encourage you to know Angular, React, and Vue. With that, you're always going to be needed. So there are companies that might not hire you just because you don't have Angular knowledge. You understand? So you don't want to be in that position where you are encouraging them, please now do this thing with React, or I can do it with React. They tell you no, this project is already live. So having the knowledge is not going to be a waste of time. And thirdly, it is something that is in demand. Most foreign jobs, like if you are doing side gig, you might be seeing side gigs in React and Angular. So you don't want to turn down half of your options of side gig just because you don't want to learn it. Okay. And again, when we say Angular have a steep learning curve, it has a steep learning curve when starting out. Okay, because most developers they are like, what is TypeScript? In fact, let me start with JavaScript. But Angular tells you, please, oh, you are going to do it. If you are going to write one line of code, you are doing it with TypeScript, right? So TypeScript is actually their problem. But now, if you already know TypeScript, picking up Angular is going to be straightforward. So you've already broken the barrier. Now, the next thing you mentioned about was resources. Resources is actually a big problem. The documentation on Angular is very straightforward. If you go to angular.dev, right? Angular.dev, you have this in Angular.dev, you have this sandbox where you can test out anything you want to do. And again, I think Angular partner with SoloLearn to teach you all you have to know about Angular, and it's free, right? So in case you are interested in learning, you can pick up SoloLearn and start from there. So and in SoloLearn, they are starting with Angular 18. Is it Angular 18 or Angular 16? So it is very much one of the recent things that you can do. So I think these two things answers your question why you should learn it and why companies are actually using Angular, but it's just that we have developers that are shouting, but then when they now get to companies that are like, okay, oh, these guys are heavy on Angular, no need, right? So that is what we've seen. But now learning the boat is not a bad thing, but learning Angular will actually pay off for you in the long run. Why? Because you wouldn't want to neglect some jobs just because you don't know something. And the knowledge between Angular and React is very small. It's just for you to decide to switch. Okay? So that's it. All right, please, do you have any other question or does this answers your question?
Thank you, sir. You've answered questions. You mentioned solo learning. Is it on YouTube? Can you please drop the links?
I'll drop the link right now.
Thank you.
Okay, let me ask my own question. What were the difficulties you faced while learning Angular, and how did you overcome them?
Okay. So the difficulties I faced. All right. I will not really call them difficulties because one thing every developers like is we like to dig in and know what's happening. So so the first thing I noticed about Angular was that the first thing, will I call it a difficulty or it was it shifted my way of doing stuff was that you have to understand the concept of modules. So unlike where I was coming from being React, you just have to write JSX, right? But in Angular, you need to know that what you are dealing with has structure. Despite you declaring whatever you are declaring or writing what you are writing, you must understand that there is a structure to it. So it's like the building block to Angular. So anything you do has a structure. Okay. So if you have understood that for you to render a particular page or a particular component, you need to make sure that at the app module it is present, I think you are already halfway. Meaning that subsequently you don't have to know have that knowledge anymore. You already have it, right? So one of the ways you can grow in Angular is to look at structures. You are like, why is this thing not working? Is this a standalone component? If not, if it's not a standalone component, meaning that I should make sure that this is present in my app module. So at any point in time, if you don't want to be doing that thing yourself, the easiest thing that can take you across everywhere is to understand the Angular CLI. So with Angular CLI, you don't have to pass through the hell I was passing through. So if you want to create a component, you know the folder you want to create it. You do Angular, let's say ng new, you call the name of the component, it creates it for you. In fact, it goes to add all those dependencies for you. So the easiest way to get through Angular as a whole is to learn Angular CLI, which is something you can learn in 2 hours. I'll also drop a link here for you have free courses on Angular that you can learn. And when I say free courses, you can learn them in 2 days and then you can get a mid-level job with it. So I'll drop the link here. So Angular CLI is something that can help you. You don't have to know much about the intricacy, just like your regular programming language. You don't have to know how the map function works, but you use it all the time. So with Angular CLI, you don't have to know the whole dependencies you get. You just have to write it out and it works for you. So that is enough. Let me drop the link to that course.
I have a question, sir.
All right, you can go on.
Okay, I have some couple of questions. My number one question is, you've worked in financial institution before, and I'm this kind of person that I really love, you know, I really love the part of tech. I mean fintech, right? So when when you're learning Angular for the fintech, if you, will you go for Angular with .NET, or you go with Angular with Spring Boot, as I mean both as backend, right? And the second question is, and where do you see Angular in the next 10 years? Because like Christiana said, it's like a lot of people are not really using Angular these days, except some except companies. Maybe it's really hard for you to see somebody that is learning tech now, or somebody that is starting like a startup using Angular. So where do you see Angular in the next 10, 20 years? And my third question is, okay, then just let me go with the two questions, sir.
Okay, so the first question is, is it better to do Angular and Spring Boot or Angular and C Sharp for tech, right? So how will I answer this? So we are talking about full stack development. So in my experience, my own personal experience, I'm a full stack developer and I don't know C Sharp. Okay, so what I do is Spring Boot, right? So in Nigeria, we are conflicted, or we are divided into two as per backend language. Okay, so it is either your bank is using C sharp or is using Java, right? So, but then there are some banks that use both. For an example, Stanbic uses both. Stanbic IBTC uses both Spring Boot and C Sharp. Of course, they use C Sharp mostly for middleware service. Access Bank uses C Sharp. Uh, Union Bank Union Bank uses C Sharp and Java, but mostly Java Sha. EcoBank uses Java. InterSwitch uses Java. So what I'm trying to say right now is that you are not going to go wrong with any of them. So they are very similar language. The knowledge you have in one, you can easily transport it into the other, right? So, but now the main thing is just have a target of the bank you want to work in, right? If you have a target of the bank you want to work in, you can enter LinkedIn, search for software developers who are in that bank, or you don't need to chat their HR, just software developers who are in that bank. Just say hi to them. When you say hi to them, you can now tell them, see, oh, I'm actually learning so so and so. Is it a good fit for your company? And your company have opening. I think that's the easiest way most of my friends who are getting job in the banks are getting. So from there, most banks are actually looking for developers. So you can now tell if they tell you that, oh, you are learning the wrong thing, use or learn C sharp, or you can easily get a job in C sharp. Then that will easily, then you now have a more direct, you now have a direction. But now over time, you realize that you've learned a lot of things that you don't even have to tell the company that what you know is just Java, or what you know is just C sharp. You can pick it up at any time. So if you learn one, you can easily pick up the next one. Okay, so don't think about that when you are. Don't let that stop you from applying for companies. Even if you apply for a company that is not using that stuff, you can always tell them that, oh, that you're a fast learner, or you have experience in so so and so. So by the time you've gotten the offer, you tell them you have 1 month to resume. 1 month you can quickly use with the right tutorial, learn up, right? And again, getting a job is more harder than the actual job. When you get to the actual job, they will actually give you time to solve your problem. Now, the next question you ask is, where do I see Angola in the next 10 years? So that question is a very important question. So I can start with something like, how old do you think Java is? Java is just 30 years. Okay. Java was 1995. So Java is just 30 years. All right. Then JavaScript the same thing. JavaScript itself is just 30 years. But something that doesn't age is your knowledge. So if you know Angular today, you know it tomorrow. Angular came out, I think that was 2016 or 2015. So it is already 2015 till now is how many years? It's already 8 years, and it's very, very strong, right? So, but now there are niche that people are gunning for. That's why some people are learning Angular. So they are what we call niche. When I say niche, there are so many products already existing that are written in Angular. Many companies might want to move from C sharp to Go tomorrow, but they are not doing that because they have a lot of code base and they can never switch. So till tomorrow, there are languages that nobody is learning today. For an example, C. I don't think anybody is learning C right now, but people are always looking for C developers. So if you ask me where will I see where I'm seeing Angular in the next 10 years, I'm seeing Angular where it is to always be one of the top three languages because it is open source, it is owned by Google. Google uses it across all their products. So many banks rely on it. There's this other company, ProgressSoft, that is hiring a lot of people right now. So ProgressSoft are just looking for Angular developers. So, and it's not going to change tomorrow because most of these companies know what they call trend. When SJS is making trend, we also know that these guys are just making trends. Okay, there are things that companies know what is lasting. So that's why I try to not look at what people are doing. I look at what companies are looking out for. If companies are heavy on Angular, my dear, I'm learning it. If they're heavy on, that's why I've not learned to Rust till today. I've not seen most companies I've gone to are not looking for Rust developers. So whatever companies are looking for is what you should be learning. So you can always port that knowledge. So what you learn is Angular. Learning Angular means that you are learning TypeScript, you are learning JavaScript, you are learning styling. You can always carry that same knowledge and move to the next thing. Okay, so don't think about the next 10 years, think about today, think about tomorrow. Okay, that knowledge you get today and tomorrow can always add to it to get to the next 10 years. Okay, so that's my answer for that.
Thank you, sir.
All right, you're welcome.
Sorry, I have a question, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, for the people that are just starting with Angular, actually, what advice do you think you can dish out to them? For people that are just starting with Angular and it seems as if they are not getting it, or they don't even know what to do, what advice are you going to give to them, sir?
Okay. The advice I'll give with anybody, not just someone who is doing Angular. The advice I'll give with anybody is that anybody learning programming as a whole is that you have learned a lot, but you are evaluating yourself with yourself, so you're not seeing progress. So when I started out in my early careers, I went for an interview. After the interview, the boss called me. Like the person that interviewed me, I dropped my number, called me on phone and was like, um, that I have imposter syndrome. So what he meant was that I know a lot of things, but I think I don't know anything. So those who are starting out in Angular, what I'll have for them is that what you should just do is keep doing what you are doing, but every once in a while build applications and don't stop it because you think, oh, most of us are not building applications to market, right? So you might just build applications to show people that, oh, this is working, I need to arrange resume. Then when we are good enough, we can now start taking side gig. So don't be like, oh, this is not going live. I'm not going to host this thing tomorrow. Let me not complete it. What you learn by the time you decide to complete a project, you see that you've learned a lot. You've learned more than someone who did it halfway twice. Doing something halfway twice means that you never got there. So by the time you say this month, I want to work on a to-do app, you get a to-do app. Whenever you are building your self project, just build a project that you want to use for yourself. Okay. So you are like, let me build this to-do app for myself. Yeah, like, what are the features do I like in a note-taking app? Okay. Or in a to-do app. When you start it, no matter what it is, don't say, oh, this is not something I'll be sharing with my friends. Let me not complete it. Make sure you complete it down to that particular design. There's this app I like to use, Google Notes, Google Keep. Sorry, they call it Google Keep, right? It's very, very simple, short and simple. That was the first application I built on Angular. Okay, just build something like that and you complete it in Angular. By the time you complete it, you've learned everything possible to learn. You've learned modules, you've learned your NGE, you've learned everything that somebody who have been working in Angular for the last 10 years have used. You've already learned it. Okay. So what I'll tell you is that decide, don't say I'm learning this particular feature in Angular. No, build a project that cover, let's say, 10 different feature and complete it. By the time you complete it, you can now tell yourself, yes, I've learned this stuff. Okay. So that's what I will tell you to do. Complete any project you are starting. Don't leave it halfway. Okay, do I have any other question? Did I answer your question, Olariwaju?
Yes, you did. Thanks so much.
All right.
All right, so one more question before you go. This is
Okay.
actually going to require a demonstration. Like I said earlier, I'm new to Angular, but I know that in React, I can easily build a component, then import it in another component, and I work like that. I've tried same way in Angular, but I don't know how to bring my component into another component. So if you can kindly show us how to do that.
Yeah. Okay. So if you can observe right here, I'm in the office. and I might not be able to, like, I don't have all these things installed here. Okay, so there are two things I can tell you to check. There are two things I can tell you to check. So those two things is, first of all, the component itself, is it loading? Like I mentioned right now, there are two things that can make your component not show up at all. So the first thing is, so you can check this on your code. If the code is with you right now, you can check the app.module.ts. So that app.module.ts, make sure it is imported in the declarations. Can you hear me?
Sir, sorry to interrupt. That's actually the problem. In Angular 18, there is no app.module.ts.
That is okay. Which Angular version are you using?
Angular 18, that's the latest. So I downloaded the latest.
Okay, you don't have any app.module.ts. Okay, do you know
There is
what?
no app.module.ts.
All right. Do you know what? We can have a meeting after now. Currently, I'm at work. We can have a meeting after now. Let me show you how you can go about it. Because I'm thinking what you're doing is standalone component. So I think that
Yes,
that
we
is the
can.
case. So it will actually require demonstration. So you can have the moderator schedule a meeting for us maybe tomorrow, so that we can develop a simple application in Angular, and then everyone, something that everyone can learn from. Okay. So if preferably we can develop, let's say you can develop. I was working on something. I had to install it into. I had to get it into this laptop right now. Else I would have used it to demonstrate all this stuff. But now, what I'm saying is, we can have a different session, maybe a 2 hour session after now, where I'll walk you guys through how to build, let's say, your portfolio page that have different pages that incorporate most of all new Angular features. So I think that will help you and everybody here. We can do that anytime next week. How do you see that? Or how
That's
do you
very
guys
fine,
see
sir.
that?
Yeah, that's fine, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. All right.
So, sir, sorry, before you leave, I would like to ask, this Angular documentation, where exactly can we get it? Because I've been having issues trying to understand some of the concepts. Sincerely speaking, I'm new to the system, so
All
I
right.
only just
Angular has two websites for documentation. We have angular.dev, and let me get the second one. Angular, let me just search. Okay. I want to use either Angular IO or something like that. Let me get it. Angular IO. Yeah, angular.io.
okay, angular.io. Thank you.
Yes,
Okay, and again,
angular.io and angular.dev. Those are the two. Those are the two documentations for Angular.
okay,
So, but Angular.dev is for most recent Angular. Yes, we wanted to bring in all these features that these new guys are bringing up. Okay, it's also hard to do that, but then it's still backwards compatible. Yeah, you wanted to ask a question.
yeah, this the way you were explaining Angular, I just realized that Angular could be more rigid than every other frameworks. Like, is it only just is it just the CSS, the normal CSS and the SAS, and can we not use component-based styling frameworks like we use Chakra UI in React and
Yes, you can
That
use, actually you can use anything you want. You can use
okay.
all of them. You can use um, your own material UI that is not owned by Google. You can use Shaka UI. You can use anything. You can use Tailwind. It supports all of them. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So I think we'll call it a day from here. See you guys next time.
Okay. Thank
Soda.
you very thank you very much, Mr. Darlington.
All right.
Um, thank you for gracing us with your presence. Yeah. Thank you. Have a nice day.
All right. Okay, you too.
All right. Well done, everyone. Thank you so much for those who took out time to be a part of this session. So before we call it a day, I'd like to talk about Bincom Global Tech Program. So permit me to share my screen. All right, so I had previously talked about the Global Tech Program in a nutshell. So this is a little deep dive into one of the programs that we can use to build your tech talent. So Bincom Global Tech Program is your solution to launching your tech career globally. And it is a 3 months to 2 years program focused on three key pillars, which is learn skill, gain experience, gain exposure. Why would you want to choose us? The Bincom program spans between 3 months to 2 years. During this period, trainees are taken through an in-depth curriculum in their chosen track and also in the development of soft skills required for them to become globally attractive in the tech ecosystem. We have different knowledge tracks from data science to DevOps to graphics design, UI, UX, project management, service management, product management, quality assurance, automation testing, back end, digital marketing, front end, and mobile app stack. So if you're interested in this program, please do well to check the link in the chat right now and register for this program. We'll follow up with you from there. If you'd also want to find out or get more insight, you should also use the link and register for this program. It's going to be worth it. There will be different packages which involves you'll get to benefit from almost all our packages, which involves mentoring, career referencing, hands holding through applications and much more. So please do well to be part of this training with us. Thank you so much. And to the hosting team, thank you and well done. All right, so except anyone has any. Okay, someone is asking if the program is free. It's a paid program, but there are other payment options. So you can go through the website, you can register, and you get more information about the payment options that we have. All right, thank you so much, everyone. Do have a great weekend. Thanks for joining.